Welcome. In our last video, we talked about this idea of teacher-centered learning, student-centered learning, this spectrum, and how we really want you to start moving along this spectrum in this direction. And to remind you that this is going to require a shift in your mindset. So we're really going to need to think about this and what it means and how it works. What you realize then, if you really start to think about this, it's really less about teaching what we do. It's a lot more about learning, student learning. So we need to start exploring, what does this mean? What is learning? So here's a few definitions that I pulled out of the various dictionary sources. Learning is a process, I've highlighted the word process, not a product. This process takes place in the mind. Another one, learning involves change in knowledge, beliefs, behaviors, or attitudes. The change unfolds over time. It's not fleeting, meaning true learning doesn't simply go away when the exam's done. That's what that means. But rather has a lasting impact on us. Learning is not something done to us, but rather something we ourselves do. I cannot force a student to learn. I can help them in the process of learning so they will learn. It is a direct result of how we interpret and respond to our experiences, and that word experiences will come into play here in just a moment. So these are several definitions. So it's a process, results in change, in knowledge, beliefs, behaviors, or attitudes. It's something we ourselves do. We do it for ourselves, to ourselves. It's happening in us. It's not something done to us. And again, it's a response to our experiences, whatever those experiences are. Now, I say recent times, but frankly it goes back several decades now, there's been an idea called active learning. What is active learning? It comes from Bonwell and Eisen. Students participate in the process of learning, and students participate when they are doing something besides passively listening. So remember, the teacher-centered learning was all about listening. The students, that's pretty much all they do other than take notes. Here, active learning is they're doing something in the learning process other than simply listening and taking notes. Active learning is a method of learning in which students are actively or experientially involved in the learning process. So active learning stuff is going on in the classroom. Again, we'll expand on that as time goes on here. Now, I want to share one conceptual framework for thinking about learning. This is actually back in the 1980s at this point. David Kolb came up with this. It's called Kolbs Cycle of Learning, or many times it's called Kolbs Cycle of Experiential Learning. It's a cycle. You can see that idea here. We're going to expand on that cycle in just a second. As any cycle, we can start anywhere and move along the cycle, but we're going to start here. And you start to see where the word experience comes in. Experiential learning. We have a concrete experience. Something happens in our environment. We have a concrete experience. It's immediate. It happens now, or it just happened, and provides us with information. That results in us doing what Kolb calls reflective observation. We make personal reflections. They're my reflections or observations on that experience or of that experience. So we think about, oh, yeah, okay, that happened to me. But then we go another step further, typically, to the next step being abstract conceptualization. This is where we generate new ideas and concepts. In other words, as a result of that experience I just had over here and my reflections on it, I'm going to do something about it. Something's going to happen. I'm going to make something happen. This is also the point at which he says we make meaning for ourselves. It becomes my ideas, my concepts, not just something that randomly happened. It's mine. Because of this generating new ideas and concepts, then our next step would be to actively test that. I have an idea how to fix that. So I had a problem here, thought about it, came up with a solution. Oh, now I've got to go fix it. I've got to change it. I've got to do something. I've got to act. Active testing. Actively test new ideas and concepts. But that's not done because now we actually have to act. And in the process of acting, we start another cycle. We have another concrete experience and reflect on that, and then so on and so forth. This is learning. This is learning. Notice it's a cycle. That's an important thing, and we're going to hammer on that both with this video and in other videos as well. So again, learning is a cyclic process. All around and around and around, it keeps on going. We've been learning since we were born, or probably even before we were born. If it's not completed, if the cycle is not completed, then the question becomes, has true learning actually occurred? Again, true learning, something that lasts a long time, not simply until the exam is done. So, you can see from what I'm suggesting, the answer is probably no. That it's true learning has not occurred if we don't somehow finish this cycle and initiate another cycle and then another cycle and so on. So very quickly, as a review, Kolb's cycle of experiential learning, concrete experience, it's immediate, it happens now. Not 3 weeks ago when we had that lecture, it's happening now when I'm studying for the exam, for example. Reflective observation. We make these general observations. Out of that then we have abstract conceptualization where we generate some idea. How am I going to fix this problem? What am I going to do now? We actively test that. In the process of testing it, action, activity, we may initiate another concrete experience. That's Kolb's cycle of learning. And again, the concept of a cycle here is really important to understanding what learning is all about.